everyone, Teeny here. I hope you're having a fabulous day. I'm so glad you're joining. Well, today we are going to create a card. We're going to make a vintage Valentine, and we're using items from the Simon Says Stamp February 2025 card kit. The card kit's called Distressed Vintage Notes, and we're going to be using the card bases in here. For my card base, I'm actually going to trim down some cardstock with one of these. Since I don't have Schoolhouse Red, I'm going to trim one of these down. We're going to be using our Distressed Vintage Notes stamp set. We're going to be using some items from the ephemera pack that came in our kit. There's loads in here, and I don't know if you guys know this or not, but if you flip them around, it has every rainbow color of ephemera in here. There's pinks, reds, oranges, we have yellows, greens, teals, blues, and purples. So you have a variety of ephemera that you can coordinate with basically any color. Today we're going to use some of the red ephemera and create a fun Valentine. So we'll be using this. And then I thought we'd do multiple layers. We're going to make a collage card today. Create a real pretty vintage style card. To do that, the Distress Collage Medium is going to come in perfectly for this. We're going to actually use this on multiple layers of the ephemera. And then I'm also going to be using our VersaFine Clair, which is probably my most favorite ink. The Nocturne is pretty fabulous, and I'm so glad Simon included a large ink pad in the kit. We'll be using this, and then we're going to add a little dimension with some foam squares. So we're going to start by doing our collage medium first. So I'm going to pick out some of our ephemera, and then I'm going to put them in little groups, and we're going to glue them together and then go over them with a coat of this. Now I picked out some of the ephemera that we're going to use for our card, and what I did is created 3 groups. Since we're going to be doing layering, I wanted to glue each of these together, and then we're going to add some collage medium over there, and then we're going to do a little bit of inking over the top. So we have 4 pieces here, and then I have 3 pieces here, and then I have 2 pieces here. These 4 include the little heart card. We have this little rose pattern, and then we have this little postcard. What we're going to do is use our Distress Collage Medium, and you don't need very much, but I'm going to add a little glue to the back, and we're going to tack these down together. I'm also going to add a little glue to this corner, and we're going to add this to the bottom. And then I'm also going to take this little tag, and we're going to glue this up here at the top. So that's one. And then for this cluster, I'm going to add a little glue here at the bottom, and then I'm going to add my teacup. We're going to add a little glue at the top here, and I'm going to add this. And if some glue oozes out, just spread it out. That's okay, because we're going to go over this. So this is another cluster. And then we have 2 little tickets that we're going to layer together. So I'm going to add a little glue, and then we're going to add both of these. So we have a cluster with 4 ephemera, 3 ephemera, and 2 ephemera. Okay, now I'm going to bring in, actually I'm going to bring in the packaging that our kit came on, okay? And we're going to place these on here, and I want to cover these with my Distress Collage Medium Matte. Ideally, if you had a paintbrush, I think that would work great. I don't have a flat paintbrush, so I'm going to be using one of my mini blending tools. We're going to add a little glue to the very top, and then I'm just going to dab it over all of my ephemera. The nice thing about this is it dries pretty quickly, and I love that about this. I'm going to do the same thing. And then lastly, I'm going to go over our tickets. I'm going to go under them so they're kind of stick together. Now after we have our Distress Collage Medium Matte over our little clusters, we're going to give these a minute to dry. It doesn't take very long at all. By the time we're finished with this next step, those should be dry. Now I'm going to take one of our card bases. If you have Schoolhouse Red cardstock, you could use a sheet of that. But what I'm going to do is trim this in half, and then I'm going to create a panel with one side that measures 3 3/4 inches wide by 5 inches tall. Now with this panel that we created that's 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches, I'm going to use my VersaFine Clair and a blending brush, and I'm going to go around all of the edges here to give this a little vintage feel. And with VersaFine Clair, you really don't need that much, but I just want to add a little bit to these edges. Okay, wonderful. Okay, and while we're at it, these should be dry. So what I'm going to do is go around the edges of each one of these ephemera clusters. I'm also going to use a finger dauber and get in. I'm going to go around some of these edges here also. And then using a cloth, I'm just going to buff away some of that ink. Okay. Now with this one, what we're going to do is take some scissors, and I'm going to distress the edges. I'm going to do a little distressing with them. And this is just the first layer. If it tears, that's okay too. I know that Tim Holtz has a distresser that would work really good for this. Like so. Okay, so that is the 4-layer. Okay, we'll put this to the side with this. And then we're going to add some ink to the edges of our 3-layer. If you get too heavy in some areas, just use a cloth and you can wipe it off and kind of spread out that color. And then that is our 3-piece. We're going to put this with this one. And then lastly, we have our little tickets. We're going to add some ink to the edges here. Little ticket cluster. Now I'm going to clean off my work surface. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of stamping using more of our VersaFine Clair. In our stamp set, we have the music notes. I'm going to use the ink pad. We're going to pick up some ink here. We'll go almost across the entire bottom here. And then I'm going to add a little bit up here to the top. And maybe a little bit more here. Okay, we're going to clean off our stamp. And then we're going to grab our floral. And I'm going to add it to one side. And we'll just give that a good press. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to put this to the side. Now we're going to do a little stamping directly on our collage here. There are several postage marks in our stamp set. I'm going to take the one that's right here, and we're going to stamp directly on our first cluster. In our stamp set, we have the love, the L-O-V-E. We're also going to take this image, and I'm going to pick some ink up here, and we're going to stamp it over here. Okay, and we have our little tickets. Let's go ahead, clean this off, and we're going to stamp on our tickets too. And I'm also going to take the little Paris that's up in the top corner here of our stamp set, and we're going to stamp it on here. I just wanted a little extra black on each one of our collages. Okay. Okay, we're going to take our background and we're going to adhere it to the front of our card base. Let's go ahead and just use some glue and we'll tack this down. this is going to go right in the center here. If you wanted to use your disc, this is great glue too, but you don't need very much of it if you wanted to use that. Okay, we're going to tack that to the front, and then we're going to take this 4-piece collage cluster. I'm going to add some glue behind here. I want to mention this is great to have on hand too, because it's great for gluing wood, buttons, metal. So this is a great glue for that. We're going to tack this down, and we're going to angle it to where this piece is going to line up with the edge of the card. I did scoot up this piece here from the bottom, just so it would all fit more towards the center of my card here. Using white twine, I went ahead and tied a bow on this tag here, and I did pop it up with some foam tape. And we're going to layer this on our card here towards the bottom. And then we have our tickets. Place that right on top of the teacup. So we have our bottom layer that's directly on our card base. This layer is on top of that, and then this layer is on top of that. So we have 2 layers of foam tape, but we have lots of dimension. Okay, lastly, I'm going to add a little bit more distressing using my scissors. So I'm just going to open them up, and since we added that collage medium, I'm just going to do a little scratching to give this a little bit more vintage look and bring out some of more of that white from our ephemera. Another option, if you don't like all the scratches, is to maybe do some splattering with some white splatter. Okay, once we have this done, I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle. I'm using some of my Spellbinders. These are SCARLET smooth discs, and we're going to add a little extra red to our background. Just adds the right amount of sparkle, and that finishes my card for today. We're not going to add any greeting. Of course you could. There's room up here if you wanted to stamp a greeting and kind of do a little tucking with it. I'm keeping mine today universal, but I love all the layers. If you don't like all the layers, of course you could just skip adding foam tape. But that will finish my card today using the Simon Says Stamp February 2025 card kit. I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration. Have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.